It's very wonderful to see mountain and to want to climb and put your flat on top of it. It's very wonderful to want to create a mountain so that you can climb it and put your flat on top of it. But it is also wonderful to know why you are doing that or why you are compelled to climb that mountain in the first place. And you might discover that everyone value mountain when you actually love the sea and perhaps swimming is what you really should be doing. And if your college mountain, then by all means to go climb the mountain. But if you have question about the sea, you may as well run the experiment and see what happens. As mean to involve. And if you're not about things small incremental students will over time to for a large change, then you are probably dead. And that's so and really be a word of anyone like I think every day I get up and I say, what am I? What is and I move toward that and sometimes analyzing my priorities versus how many back to back episodes of whatever what I'm streaming on Netflix. I can watch, if not cap into what's Sunday that I need, you know, your internet to my best self out in the world money and sometimes if you know how much of my to-do list can I control before lunch. And so I tell myself that it's to list on the things that's in it. And so instead compared to the things that I have already other I have already survived or already accomplished. That it is almost laughable that I think they can stand there on my to-do list. You know, that without the actually not working. And so you can get to the point where you can say, well, I've already pushed through something before you go, or I have already done something that I didn't think that I was able to do, didn't have the skill to do, didn't have the confidence to even try. Yes, circumstance interminate and I well for sure I have already done this thing. Yeah, there are significant different contests. Maybe they were personal contest in not career contest in my case they were in theater and at this time world what I have already is proof of concept is already there. So what reason do I have to believe that it isn't going to make work again? So not thinking about it at least untenable do things because you do get a few response to do things because that outline trying to protect us from things that may be dangerous that we don't know anything about and realizing that it is from letters that clock in a new environment. And so I think that's all let's to be safe for looking back at our success and not just approaching them, but really recognizing that the new challenges in fact that our progress over that one is like a lot of early accomplishment that I have made, but because I didn't realize as one option and this actually a type of method for teaching times so useful like about it and that's one top with the silky method and you look up silky method you have all this legal for 5 6 of the applying parallel concept and then for the other course to see somebody attached usually able to do this because nobody tell them that I should be able to do yeah and so that will skill and ability as well to well you label they start with to cholesterol with no expectation was to get to trace. So I did. Every time there's all wrong but in front of me. I didn't realize you could not acknowledge it so I just did. We will never really know who we would have been if we had made one different decision. You won were back there in our child. But because they are no white and blood with our emotionally exceptional to the experience that we have early on in life and we will later in life will actually live in a society that's been great for us and that's so the expectation that will is a contributing commitment to the community that can be accomplished in many different ways. I think if I had group of young people that it was responsible for our try and listen to more and maybe my parents show what they show them what I certainly wouldn't try and argue because you can do that. Right, but demonstration where they can find people to embrace and to look up and to like I try the right question because the worst thing in the world is to have an stupid mind or have question is not thing is right. People have the right success to win answer. So the useful brain is the investing. It's the developing and smart principle to information in such a ways in order. I would be story and would use imaginative language and humor, but is a certain amount of finishing has happened in your last few years in an early journey with its being fundamental with fun job contest with startup the small more for those our ability to technologically and to predict outcome and also maybe a little bit for us to protect the negative outcome as well, right? So antagonism follow victim to reality when are lazy because most of nature is lazy. There has to be a justifiable reason for our ancient output, you know, because like using resources that are important for our survival. So if our brain are lazy and they follow the process, easiest for them to follow. If you have consistently trained your brain and through that reframing, and that is state. The optimistic outcome is like what you think about. It's hard to really hard to think about the negative one is unless it's fully trained some way. It will go still do it enough because it's a prediction machine. So I agree that is probably what it will happen. It will be our positive outcome. There might be other factors of energy that I would be spending thinking about those other factors doesn't seem like without necessary for the importance of recession to be enough. Our brain really don't like to work people. They get really happy if they're under stimuli and then that can go to solving a problem in many ways, in different ways. Not just how can I solve problem something, but how can I ensure that it's not going to problem in long run. Emotion when it's useful or we say actively distributing it had to be by love entirely locally. Now it's often like human search if it's possible. Make emotional consistent somebody helpful. You love playing brain thing that it is significant begin and that I can always do the right thing and the right thing is the joyful and then as I start to learn about the brain as I start to learn about myself I realized I didn't have a lot of experience. They say what would happen, and it's just let them. And most people experience this in their evolutions, but they don't know their experience with with just this motion. They just thinking it's how it's who I am, right? They don't think of it as properly. I went to New York and I trained on the orphan and it's school with Universal School of Modern Dance. They modeling and I was gonna be a dancer, but then there was a sort of practice in the first time a little bit. I was a great perfect and when you're a dancer, especially when you're a young dancer, you treat it as if you don't have a mind of your own and you are simply a body and a artistic director and the for the teaching is giving you the input and you have to give it back. For some that already have a chaos like increase in chemistry that would be certified, especially when they would make comments about mystery, like they don't eat too much turkey or for Thanksgiving because then you fall asleep because shadow friend, I would be like you do my having turkey, have to eat by the digress, or have for a woman instead that I stop worrying about whether or not feeding in there and whether or not supposed to be emulating the men are making a point of by female in the next time. The people are only generalizing women that have had to do that. They have had to take and there's so many class things in academia, they have a very toward ladies and they still there and to be broken. But I think for the message thing will always trying to get women STEM now and women in coding and design. I think I hope this is an official like something starting the pictures in Germany like we just put enough women into the pipeline and the fact that it's all liquid One way, a program will eventually get enough of the tool to control track positions that restore to positive feedback loop. And I think that for the mistake it can be very difficult to be at rest when you're constantly looking over your shoulder and wondering if you will use enough.